earlier directive from the that every Saturday of every month we're supposed to have the cleanup exercise. That directive is still in force in that region. Hence,
Oh, yeah.
people not
Yes.
coming out
Most of
to
the
clean.
regions, yeah, most of the districts are still enforcing that directive. But especially if you the West Mampus, which is the Walawale district, they are enforcing that. The Chiriponi and then the Bumpurugu Yoyon district, the story is not different in terms of enforcing that directive. Except that in the East Mampus municipality, because of some challenges with their family. Since they launched that initiative, it has only taken place twice. But today they've announced that tomorrow everybody should come out and clean their environment or their surroundings.
And per your interactions with the residents, are they willing to come out tomorrow?
Oh yes, I'm sure because the announcement was done this afternoon, and then you could hear people saying that it is important, especially now that we are in the rainy season. It is important to clean up their surrounding to prevent chokes of gutters, which can easily cause floods within their environment and where they do their businesses as well.
I see. Jaram, thank you so much for the updates from the Northeast region. That's my colleague in the Northeast region, Jaram Wache. Let me take you to the Volta region and speak with my colleague with our sister station, HOFM 92.5. That's Solomon Ahiable. So, good to have you always on 505. What's the issue in the Volta region? The cleanup exercise happened. Did we have massive numbers coming out to clean?
Really, it was a massive turnout this morning from 5 a.m. through to the afternoon. I might say that people within the Volta region came out in their numbers. The education also went down ahead of today and tomorrow's exercise. And there is one thing about the Volta region, especially when it comes to the regional capital. We have this name that the region is an oxygen region, and the regional capital is the only oxygen region or capital when it comes to the whole country. So whatever it will take the regional minister and the environmental health officials to ensure that they protect and maintain this name, they are doing all these things possible. Across the 18 districts of the Volta region today, the exercise has been very small with a massive turnout. I've been engaging the environmental health officer, Madam Stella Kumajro, earlier. She mentioned that indeed the Volta region, there is this awakening among the people to know that cleanliness is next to godliness, and they must do everything possible to take responsibility and collaborate with them so that our environment can be clean. A typical case study has to do with the recent flooding that happened in Accra, and everybody is ready to ensure that that did not happen in the Volta region. Away from the environmental health officer, the Volta regional minister, Honorable James Gonu, also talked about 8 districts today to ensure that the exercise is being carried out successfully. He went to Sogakope district, that is Safton, Central Tonu. He also went to Keta. He went to Abo and other parts of the Volta region just to ensure that people came out in their numbers to participate in this exercise. The Ghana Armed Forces 66 Artillery Regiment officials were also on the ground this morning. For them, they are saying that though they are law enforcing agency, they will have to make sure that collaboratively we come out together to support the government initiative so that we have this discipline among ourselves to ensure that our environments are clean. Apart from the security agencies, the Food and Drug Authority also participated. I spoke with Mr. Godwin Akurugu earlier. He mentioned that they are doing everything possible to monitor and regulate our food vendors. Recently, Volta region and Oti region recorded a higher number of typhoid cases within the region. And this initiative from the president, Mr. Godwin Akurugu, mentioned that they are really backing this initiative and they will go a long way, whatever it will take them to ensure that they enforce law, make sure people that are selling, food vendors, are taken through the right process so that the food that we eat is safe and clean for us. They will ensure to do that. So it's been very smooth across the 18 districts of the Volta region today. We will be continuing tomorrow, and we hope that the turnout recorded this morning will be more higher than what will be recording tomorrow will be more higher than what we recorded today. KOG, to conclude, one Mr. Roger AJ from the Municipal Environmental Health Office, he said that people have locked their offices and their shops with the intention of coming out to participate in this exercise. But surprisingly, some could not come out, and they will make sure that they look at these people, give them a sport fund, ensure that they pay so that you serve as a deterrent to other people. So it's been very successful across the Volta region today as far as this national cleanup exercise is concerned.
So let's talk about the waste collection. Did we have waste management companies coming to take off the waste that was silted from the gutters?
Sure, the Zoom Lion was on the ground.
Okay.
We have this private company called Mauleme Movement. They were also on the ground to ensure that collaboratively they support the disposal of the waste collected today. Many of the drainages too have been worked on so that the choked gutters that might affect us as far as flooding is concerned, they were also taken care of. So we are looking at the major drainage systems across the region. And to be specific, we have one called Amegashe Bridge, and then Trafalgar area. They are the major drainage systems that we have. And away from that, we also have that of the Apede Palace area, that is closer to the Togbi Apede, the 14th Palace. These are the major gutters they are looking at to ensure that they do everything possible to clean the area so that choke gutters can also be taken care of. So it's been very smooth. We'll continue to update our listeners as far as this exercise is concerned. Some also said, the participants mentioned that indeed they have also backed the president, and what they want the president to do is that though we are doing the monthly one, but this one should also continue. At least twice a week will not be bad.
Oh, I see. Solo, thank you so much from the Volta region. So that's my colleague Solo. Solomon here, Blair, with our sister station in Ho FM 92.5. Let me stay on the phone line and speak with Aziz Ayamba, who is also in the Upper East region. Aziz, thank you so much for your time on 505. How was the exercise today?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, as the nation or the nation is observing the National Sanitation Day, similar here in the Kusak area. I mean, the Boku, Zebila, Garut, and Pani are all observing. But tomorrow being Saturday will be most engaging than what we saw today, because I put across from the Pusga district where the Pusga DC, Honorable Krongotom, the people came out to do some cleanup. The similar in the Boku municipal, but they've also done some exercise and then some information going around, informing the people that tomorrow being Saturday, they should come out massively more than today. So it's been effective across the Boku enclave there.
I see. How was the numbers like? Here in Accra, we saw massive crowd coming out from their various homes to participate in today's exercise. How was the numbers in the Upper East region?
Yeah, usually it's been Saturdays that they participate in the cleanup exercise. So talking about today's Friday and tomorrow, today the number wasn't that great, though people came out to do. But usually when it is Saturdays, that is where most people come out. So we expect a lot of a heavy number tomorrow, but today wasn't too much encouraging.
So what's the plan for tomorrow?
Yes, already announcement has been made. I've heard some radio stations announcing for tomorrow cleanup exercise, and other vans are going around informing the people about tomorrow, telling them that unless after 10 a.m., that is where stores or other business can be activated. But from between 6 and 10, nobody can do anything apart from the National Day sanitation tomorrow.
I see. Aziz, thank you so much for your time this evening. So that's Aziz Ayamba, who is also also in the Upper East region. This is 505 on Class 91.3. Well, the government says he has begun using previously closed landfill sites to manage growing volumes of waste in Greater Accra as existing disposal facilities approach full capacity. Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu said the decision had become necessary because of the limited number of approved landfill sites available to receive waste collected by sanitation companies.
But we were able, myself and the local government minister, we engaged some service providers, waste management companies. Zoom Lion is part of them. We engaged them, and we also brought out our challenges, and they also brought out their challenges. As I'm speaking to you now, His Excellency had managed, to secure some designated landfills, and trust me, this exercise and beyond the exercise, it can contain the waste that will be generated. And so landfill like Teshin has been opened, Nungwa, Kolebu, and then Adipa. All those places initially was locked, but because of the timely intervention, it has been opened. And so I'm not sure it's only because of this exercise. Beyond the exercise, it will be there just to accommodate any waste that will be generated.
So that's the Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu. Well, as part of his monitoring of the national cleanup today, a local government minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, stated that all transfer stations across the country are open for use. According to him, this will allow for smooth evacuation and clearing of filth being cleared as a result of the post-flood cleanup ongoing nationwide.
Has spoken to them. And once the transfer station, today, when we went to Nungwa, you realize that the MC said, for today and tomorrow, they've opened the fertilizer transfer stations for them for use. So the Abobo Yas are not going to be cutting long distance before they throw the refuse away. So Teshiye, there's a transfer station. Achimota, there's a transfer station. Abukobi, there's a transfer station. So once that happens, they are not going to be sending them to the wetlands. And there's not going to be indiscriminate dumping of or disposal of refuse in unengineered landfill site, like we were doing for the past few months. And that's what brought about all the refuse. When you throw away refuse here, and this place is overflooded, it will take the refuse back into your house. And that's what we experienced on 30th of this month.
Okay. But you said a new landfill site will be open.
But we have Adipa and we have Adipa landfill site which is functioning, and then we have one also in the eastern region. Recycle, and all you are doing is just sweeping and dumping, sweeping and dumping. Even if they gave you 200 or 1,000 acres of landfill site, within few months it will be full. And the transfer stations to the Aboboyas, who are the informal waste collectors who are using the Aboboyas, there are about 4,000. So even if you say they should bring them here within a day, this place will be a landfill site.
So that's the local government minister, Ahmed Ibrahim. Dr. Hayford Ayarakwa is a development economist. He joins me on the phone. Doc, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505.
Good evening, my brother, and thank you for having me.
Great. President Mahama says 2 days a year isn't enough. From an economic standpoint, is monthly better, or does it, multiply the cost?
Well, so I share in the views of the minister when he says that we need a more comprehensive approach to dealing with this than a knee-jerk approach. The call to clean up our environment is a good call. It's not the first of its kind. We've had this in the past, where on a monthly basis there was an opportunity for people to tidy up their surroundings, and it did do something. But the challenge then was that people end up desilting their gutters and sweeping around and cutting them from their respective environments to where they ought to finally go to was always a problem. So it rains and it gets back to the drains all over again. But I think for me, fundamentally, from the development economics perspective, we have missed an important opportunity, but it's not late. Until we see waste as a commercial business, we'll be saddled with some of these challenges. Elsewhere, people are struggling to get waste to process because of the economic viability that comes with it. The few recycling plants that we have so far established in this country, what you see is that they go there and they spend a lot of resources trying to now isolate, separate waste. Everywhere in the world where they have managed to have control over their waste, the separation starts from the originating point, at the household, at the business. So wherever you are, containers are clearly labeled, and you know that this one is an organic waste. It can be recycled, it can be reused for something else. These are plastic, these are papers, these are bottles. And once you don't do this, then you are in for a problem. Because once it gets to the wherever assembling point, and you have to now spend a lot of resources to separate them before you think of what you can do, that in itself is a disincentive. And so the return on investment will not be attractive. But if households begin to see that if I if I sort my waste and I get compensated for doing that, I get some returns on doing that, no matter how little, it is the starting point. And so people who ordinarily would drop things by the roadside begin to see that, oh, little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. And so they will begin to now look at all the economic opportunities that there are. So in no time, people will rather be going around and taking people's waste because they want to make economic gains out of it. And so I agree with the minister when he says that if you get 100 acres of land, within a few days, you will fill it with waste. And what happens? You come back to square one. And so I think that as a country, we need to begin to model. And I'm not saying that let's do this en masse. Let us begin to see if we can begin to pilot some of these things. Several residential communities in and around Accra, for example, where we can begin to pilot. If you take Ayawaso West Wogan, it's largely first-class residential areas where there are very few general living communities around them. If we can begin to pilot some of these things and scale up, institutions like the University of Ghana, University of Professional Studies, etc., these are places where it shouldn't be difficult to pilot some of these things. And once we can begin to sort it out at that level, it becomes these are people who would go into the communities and make these things happen. So I see an opportunity which we have not explored. And we've spoken about this many times. It is time that we learn the hard way and begin to make some gains out of it.
Doc, I'll come back to you shortly because I have a question on the economy, the impact on the economy. But let me speak with Mr. Frederick Odro, who is a local government expert. He joins me on the phone. Mr. Odro, good evening to you. I'm grateful for your time on 505. First of all, let me have your assessment of today's exercise, and especially on the call by President Mahama to make this exercise on a monthly basis.
Well, I think to start with, it is not a new concept. We've had it for quite a long while.
Yeah.
And whether it's been a success is there for all of us to judge. But be as it may, I see this today's and tomorrow's exercises as a means of dealing with the immediate aftermath of the flooding. We've had this incident, which is quite significant, and the lives have been lost, properties have been lost. I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes and all that, but in the immediate aftermath, what needed to be done was to consider what could possibly happen post-flooding. There's a likelihood or the possibility of outbreak of certain diseases like cholera and the likes. So we needed to mobilize nationally, or at least at the key areas of the flood incident, to ensure that we can deal with situations that can lead into epidemics and the like. So for that purpose, it's good we are having this exercise. But beyond that, this exercise is not the solution to the flooding problem we have in the country. The second point I would like to make is that there seem to be inconsistencies in the communication about how the process was going to be. Normally, the standard monthly cleanup exercise is usually held on Saturdays.
Sure.
In usually the commercial areas. Though we are supposed to be doing it in the residential areas, there seems to be hardly any success in the residential areas. But with the commercial areas, stores can be locked up until specified time and the likes. So you see a lot more activity going on there. But even as to who participates in it, whether it's the traders and the people in the central business district themselves who participate, is another question altogether. So over the years, how we've seen this done, I don't think there was much difference today. Although the initial communication seemed to suggest that today was for the security services.
Yeah.
So you'll find the military, the police, particularly the fire service, leading the charge in the certain drains and other places of that nature. That seemed to work to a large extent. But the point was that the communication said today and tomorrow. So there seemed to be an expectation that today was for the security services and tomorrow is for ordinary residents.
Yeah.
So these are things that I think I did not see some level of clarity in this. So when you monitor the various media houses in their reports, it seems to suggest some places, especially in the central business district and the like, people were, the residents were quite apathetic. So if there was anything going on, it was coming from the security service. So tomorrow, it's going to be another phase. How is it going to be done? I think there must be clarity given about some of these things. Otherwise, the point is that the exercise is extremely important. We need all hands to be on deck. But we need to be given guidance as to exactly what is expected of each and every one of us. So these are my two key observations.
I see. Let's come to the closure of the shops and economically. And this time around, Dr. Hifo, let me come to you on this. So we're seeing shops shut by force and arrests made. Of course, we've seen some people are arrested. But then, is there a smarter way to get the same sanitation results without shutting the whole economy down every month, if indeed that proposal comes to pass?
Well, so I think that there should be alternatives. We want shops to close down because we want everybody to be a part of the process. And that is a right call, like my colleague was saying. I, however, do not think arresting people for opening their shops is the way to go. What do we gain for arresting the people? I would have thought that probably we could have thought through a way of having, if you insist that you want to open your shop, you should be prepared to pay some amount of money. I don't know what whether the bylaws would allow that, but there could always be ways going around that, so that we could still generate some money in the process. Closing down shops for a few hours is a lot of money that is going down the drain. Now, don't forget that it's not just those of us who are in Accra who patronize in these shops. People have traveled from very far places and come all the way to Accra to buy a few things. And so once they come and these shops are closed, it's a great discomfort. And so we will need to have a balance between closing these shops or allowing people to still open their shops, but be prepared to pay a certain amount of money that allows us to engage other hands who can be more professional, who can do probably a better job. I mean, so if I close my shop and I don't show up to clean up, you haven't gained anything.
Yeah.
I would have lost my money, but I haven't contributed to the exercise. But if I have the opportunity to open my shop and pay some money, I would have made my money. The government would have also made some money to engage other people who need it to be able to do it. And so I think there are several models probably we can look at going forward. But I don't think arresting people is the right way to go, in my opinion.
Very well. Let me ask this final question, and of course the question is to both of you. But Dr. Efford, since you're on the floor, you want to wrap up with this. The issue about, of course, we are cleaning, we are the silting gutters, but one of the factors of flood still maintains building structures on waterways, lack of proper drainage system. Beyond the Friday Saturday cleanup, what do we do as government?
Well, I would say that government must look at the entire layout of Accra all over again. If you look at Accra, if you drive up the ridge, you see that Accra is in a valley, more or less, surrounded by these mountains. And so any water from that level would always find its way into Accra. And we need a properly structured architectural and civil engineering that allows, we know where the rains are coming from, the volumes can anticipate it, worst case scenario, and where are they going to go to? Are there holding points that in the case of overflowing, these water can have holding point for it to drain gradually? So we need a complete layout. And in that layout, we require that we demolish structures. I think that it is not even a point of negotiation. Once your structure obstructs the flow of water, it means that you are going to cause trouble to the society. And so straight away, it must go. And whether you have permit or not, that's a different conversation that can be had. But I think we need a layout. We need to redefine the path for the water and make sure that we are planning. And this cannot be done in a year or two. But once we know this is what we are all working towards, irrespective of which government is in power, we know that this is where we are. We started here. This is our end goal. And so we can hold people accountable for whether or not they are pursuing our collective interest or they are abandoning to pursue their own selfish gains.
Doc, thank you so much. Mr. Doe, let me also come to you to wrap up the conversation on the same question. What do we do as governments beyond this 2-day exercise?
Well, I don't know what I can say in this short. The problem is there's a huge engineering challenge. I've been asking myself, there are so many cities that are built on water and they don't get flooded. The point is that what goes into how we build, our building process, what is the engineering underpinning our residence or our structures? Because if you have the waterway, and indeed we plan or we engineer the system that the developments we make do not obstruct the waterways, I don't see any problem with it. I mean, people deliberately create water canals and build on them elsewhere. I mean, sometimes I sit back and ask myself, do they need to do anything different? Haven't the other places done it so well and so beautifully that we can just learn and do what they do? I think for us, I mean, whenever anybody wants to build, the first thing is, let's fill up the place, let's divert water, or not even that, let's block the water channel and all that. That will never work anyway. So I think we must have a rethink about how we engineer the development. I mean, the fiscal development we make in this country. Let us factor in critical issues like waterways and the like, We can build. We can have our buildings wherever we want. But the point is that we should never attempt to block the water channel, because they will come back together. But it goes beyond that. There's so much to be done about this conversation that I don't think even an hour discussion would even be enough. So let me leave it at that. But I believe that Ghanaians, our leaders, have traveled to places where they've done this successfully. So either we are lazy about what we should do, or I'm very sorry, we are very poor at thinking, and we've allowed ourselves to get into this. People are thinking and developing, and we are sitting here. I'm sorry.
I see. Mr. Dro, I'm grateful for your time on the show. So that's Frederick Dro, who is a local government expert. This is 505 on Class 91.3. Well, let's do some few messages before I take leave of you this evening. From Wanda Vati, who Central says, good evening, KOJ. I think we must ensure that waste management partners, including Zoom Lion, are properly funded now and monitored to keep our communities clean. Beyond that, we must commit to proper waste disposal, not dumping in gutters to prevent us from choking and causing floods. Okay, so that's what he shares with us. Ifo Komla says, Kwame, the national cleanup exercise which begins today and tomorrow through the nation, while President John Dramani Mahama and Vice President participated. Current economic growth under this, very well. Let's go straight to the point. What do you think of it? Francis in Accra says, hi KOJ, what at all is the issue? Is there a way we can, so that's all for 505 this evening. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. On behalf of my team, I'm grateful that you joined us in the last 16 minutes. We'll do the same time on Monday at 5 p.m. Good evening. Good night.